Hey folks, Adam Brian Dada with the Lower Reward video series. Getting close to the end of the introductory episodes. So we're going to start covering specific small ingredients that form recipes, that form chapters, that build the Low Reward cookbook. Today we're going to talk about a small piece of introduction, profit and loss, which when taught in school is very much incomplete. Most of the time when people talk about profit and loss, it's strictly financial. And financial is actually the least important part of the Lower Reward video series and lifestyle. Making money is important. It's a true, objectified way to know if you have value in the world, but it isn't the only aspect of profit or loss that I talk about, not even the most important one. When we talk about lower reward behaviors, we almost always are discussing profit for ourselves, or loss for ourselves, or profit for someone else, or potentially loss for someone else. But the losses for others come from the producer mindset and the consumer mindset. Producers want to gain, and consumers typically lose. When we work on our behaviors and our options for the day, the contingency plans, for all sorts of goals that we have, as well as the little rewards that get us to those goals. Are we going to walk somewhere? Are we going to ride our bike somewhere? Are we going to take the bus somewhere? Are we going to drive the car somewhere? All of these little behaviors are built up with profits and losses. When I, as a consumer, scroll past episode after episode, post after post of mindless consumer shininess, I'm losing, but not money. I'm losing because I'm giving up my time. And it's not just my time today that matters. It's also future time, because my brain has now been conditioned slightly by what I've scrolled past. Even if I scroll past 100 posts on social media in 2 minutes, I've still been conditioned. I've become a believer. Even if I don't trust it, I still believe in it. One of the big issues that I've had is the scrolling past information that I think I may not care about. For example, if I'm looking at a Wikipedia entry for something I might be casually interested in, the problem with that is I'm still putting something into my brain. Even if I don't remember it tomorrow, and even if I don't care about it today, I've conditioned my brain. There's a sense of loss there, because the brain can't have unlimited information. It can't handle that. And it's going to slowly prioritize things which we repeatedly take in over things that we are now bored with. New things tend to take priority in the brain over old and boring things. This is why motivation tends to be such a tricky phenomenon for so many people who want to take on the low reward producer mindset. As we blatantly, excessively hyper-consume tiny bits of information all day long, even if it's scrolling through YouTube, not videos, but just the little screenshots, the little thumbnails of videos, the little explosive headlines and beautiful people in beautiful surroundings, we're losing as consumers. We're losing because we're, again, being conditioned. This is what we want. Part of this video is funny because here I am in like this paradise environment with this beautiful green sapphire emerald water behind me. And people might want that, except I'm here on business. I'm not here for fun. Just watching this video, instead of listening to it as I usually tell people to do, just watching this video is enough for you as a consumer to feel a loss. When you watch that sports team that you supposedly love and are a fan of, you as a consumer are facing a loss. You're conditioning yourself with someone else's plan, someone else's profit, and you're becoming comfortable with it. And as consumers, at a certain stage of age, maybe even as young as 5 or 6, we become conditioned to want to enrich other people at our own loss. And the Pareto research that he had done back 100 years ago shows that we as consumers want to do this because we're conditioned. From a young age, we're conditioned. Even 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, consumers would go to war to enrich the people that had conditioned them in little increments. Profit and loss. You give a consumer a shiny thing that they forget about in 5 days. Give a kid a new pencil case from back to school sale at the shiny adult and kid toy store like Target or Walmart, and they get conditioned. Look at this. They feel like they gained. What did they gain though? Condition in a brand, condition in a logo, condition in something that's throwaway for them, but for the producer of that product, even if it's a pencil case with a cartoon character on it, the issue that comes up is, did we condition the consumer? And did they voluntarily do it? Did they pay for it with money? Did they pay for it with time? Generally, the consumer doesn't think about things that appear to be free. They especially don't think about things that appear to be on sale. They don't think about things that may be running out of supply. But they do face a loss, that time that they invest voluntarily or even pay for. That mental programming that happens when they take in something that feels good to their brain. That slow fandom that they gain in mindset toward this product that a smart producer patiently created and marketed. The consumer loses. The profit side of things I'm going to cover in the devil side of this episode, as I usually try to, because that's way more complicated than the loss side of things. But even as we look at our day ahead today, every day coming up this week, it's important to try and think about what are you giving up and what are you losing in order to stay a consumer. Why do we think jumping in the car and going to get that taco is such an important happiness trigger in the brain, when what we're giving up is we are the ones giving up our moment of our day to get in the car that we're possibly still paying for, to spend gas that we're paying for, to take the risk of accidents or tickets or whatever might be out there for driving to the fast food store. And then we wait in line, we give up money, we look at a menu, which is scrolling a social media platform. That's what a menu is. A menu is a social media platform. And we're scrolling past all of these beautiful things, French fries and burgers and shakes, and all these great things that we've already been conditioned to love and appreciate as consumers. So we're scrolling past 1 second at a time. Don't want this, don't want this, don't want this. But because we're seeing these things, part of our brain feels a success just seeing it. I know I have this ongoing comical joke with a friend of mine during fasting. When you even look at a low quality 8-bit emoji of a piece of pizza, it can make your stomach growl when you're fasting because we're conditioned and we're losing. We're losing every time we scroll through these things. So we're at the fast food store and we've bought this $1 taco, $2 burger, and we feel like we've won. We're satisfied because as a consumer, we have profited. We have won over the terrifying corporation. But have we really gotten anything of value? We've given up so much time, so much needless expense, financial, in little half pennies here and half pennies there. We've given up our health in many cases. We've satisfied our brain's drive for something, to do something, to get something. So our dopamine is pinging all over the place. And now what we've got, we've enriched someone else, and our brains think we have won. When you take a look at your consumer mindset this week, every day, one of the nice things you can start doing is looking at the actual costs. Look at the cost of time. Look at the financial cost of little things, not the big things, the little things. Look at the mental conditioning that happens where you find yourself agreeing with the marketing, agreeing with all of the little things you scroll past on social media or on a menu or even in the checkout aisle of a budget grocery store. Look at the conditioning that you're giving up as a consumer. Look at how many things that you experience in those scroll past moments that you actually have knowledge of. How many of them have you tried? And how many of them did you like or dislike? And think to yourself, why is it that I don't dislike more of them? Why is it that I only dislike the enemy brand of my favorite product? When you're scrolling through social media and you catch yourself flipping past post after post after post, ask yourself, what am I looking for? Am I looking for a cute girl with a nice body and a pretty face? Am I looking for a quote that makes me happy and feel successful? Why are you scrolling past item after item after item? What is the benefit? What is the gain as a consumer when you do that choosing, selecting, browsing? And what is the loss as a consumer? Who's profiting from you just scrolling past, just looking at item versus item versus item, or cute girl versus quote versus dead athlete versus dead celebrity? What parts of your success, your future success, are being bumped because you're investing voluntarily in enriching someone you don't even know, or someone who doesn't even know you? At what point in time can we stop, even for a moment, and say, I refuse to lose control of myself right now, and do this mindless scrolling, mindless investing in others, mindless loss that I'm giving up for someone who is patient, more patient than me, more well-planned than me, more well-versed in the consumer mind than me? These little profits and losses add up very quickly to an entire lifetime spent. And when one person gives up a few pennies here and a few pennies there every day for their whole life, and you multiply it by 1,000 or 10,000, the person on the receiving end of it, who doesn't even know their names or care about them, is looking at millions or billions. And the people who have given up all for that millionaire or billionaire are happy fat little piggies. They're happy. They're joyful in doing it. They're satisfied for a short period of time. They're ecstatic that they have someone that they can consider their team, their man, their brand. And what are they losing? Only their life, really. Only their life. And after the moments are over, after the binges are over, the scrolling is over, the entire process to get that $1 taco, $2 hamburger is over. After all of this is over, what are they left with? Let's go back to that triangle. They're left with depression at the worst, anxiety, which is maybe a little better than depression, and then there's boredom, which is the best thing to be left with in life. We're going to get into that one in a 2-week self-study. I hope this week you'll start a conversation with yourself about loss. Profit and loss, but we're going to ignore profit on the angel side of things for now. But think about your losses when you binge consume. when you look at things for just a moment, when you ponder things for just a second, when you scroll past Netflix thumbnails of shows and think to yourself, oh, I don't need to see these, I've seen these before, or I may not be interested in them yet, but someday I might be. Think about the losses that are taken from you voluntarily. Think about what you're giving up in conditioning and in agreeing and in becoming docile. Think about the losses that happen when you feel joy and success because somebody else presented to you a short clip showing them winning and making you feel like you're along as a team player. I'm Adam Brian Dada, and this is the Low Reward video series.